I'm fighting a road runner. I'm the Coyote. You chose me. I ain't choose you. You chose me. So I'm gonna tell you straight the F up. You could go back to 135. We'll send you back to lightweight. You still got your WBC belt. You're gonna be fine. Shakur will fall.
Shawn Porter has completely flipped his prediction for one of the most anticipated fights of the year, now giving Teofimo Lopez the advantage over the previously undefeated Shakur Stevenson.
Okay. I can guarantee you this is what Shakur is gonna do. Shakur is gonna come out middle of the ring, work that jab, work that pawn that he does, all that, the feints. He's gonna try to touch him with the jab, but he's gonna be waiting on his moments to snap with that right hand, waiting on his moments to counter, waiting on his moment. And when they're not there, he's just gonna slide off, go for that little walk, restart, slide off, restart. Shakur is the kind of fighter that does not mind restarting. That was our thing, was once we start, we want to do the best we can to get away from another restart, because the restart allows you to reset, allows you that space, you know, and stuff like that. When you would see me get broke by the ref, you would see me right back on, because I don't want that restart situation. Right. So that's what Shakur needs. He needs that space to keep restarting, that space to keep using his jab, keep probing, and keep finding tail. I think that's what the fight's going to look like for Shakur.
The stage is set for an electrifying collision at Madison Square Garden on January 31st, where Lopez will defend his WBO Super Lightweight Championship against Stevenson. This matchup represents more than just another title fight. For Stevenson, victory would cement his legacy as a four-division world champion, joining an elite group of fighters who have conquered multiple weight classes. For Lopez, successfully defending his crown would solidify his position as one of the premier fighters in the division and silence those who question his consistency.
We know that Shakur is very passionate about the sport. He's a kid that has always wanted to be considered the best in the sport. From the amateurs till now, he wants to be pound for pound top dog. He wants to be on Mount Rushmore, so on and so forth. Teofimo, I feel that he's had that passion, right? But he's had lapses to the, you know, at times where he thought about even quote unquote retired and said he was done with this game. Now, I don't know if that helps you, because it creates this chip on your shoulder as a fighter to keep continuing to prove the world wrong that you are one of the best, or if it psychologically affects you against a guy like Shakur.
When you go against a guy like Shakur reminds me of Bud Crawford. You can't have those lapses. You can't have that kind of mindset. And I think, you know, Teo's been very vocal about the things that he struggled with. And, you know, he was going through a divorce, and all of these things were making it really, really hard for him to focus on his first love. But that's the thing. Recently, he said he came back to his first love. He remembers that this is what got him everything he has, and he's back in love with boxing, and that's what we've been wanting to hear. And when we see a Teo like that, he's sharp against Josh Taylor. When we see a Teo like that, he's sharp against Lomachenko, and also willing to fight all these guys. Now think about this. I know we call big, heavy punches the boogeyman, but usually the boogeyman is the guy that's hard to beat. And Shakur, nobody really wanted to fight him. And once again, Teofimo Lopez is fighting a dangerous fight.
What makes Porter's reversal particularly fascinating is the complete shift in his analysis. Just weeks ago, the former champion saw this contest as clearly tilted in Stevenson's favor, rating it at 60% for the Newark native versus 40% for Lopez. However, after deeper consideration of the tactical possibilities, Porter has arrived at a dramatically different conclusion. His fresh perspective centers on the variety of strategic options available to each fighter, and this is where things get really interesting. According to Porter's updated breakdown, Lopez possesses significantly more pathways to victory compared to his opponent. The reasoning behind this assessment revolves around the fundamental nature of how each man approaches combat inside the squared circle. Stevenson has established himself as a remarkably disciplined boxer who adheres strictly to his proven formula. While Porter admires this unwavering commitment to a particular style, he recognizes it as a potential limitation. Stevenson's reluctance or inability to deviate from his established patterns could become problematic if Lopez manages to solve the puzzle.
Shakur gonna always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him, and eventually he knew that he was going to be in a position where he could have his way with the kid who was in the ring. I'm losing his name off the top of my head.
Right, I know you're talking about. But I believe he fought that way because he started hearing all the call of him running. He started saying, you know what? Let me stay in the pocket, because he stood in the pocket a lot more than he normally stood in the pocket with that fight. You know what I'm saying?
It took some unnecessary shots.
Huh?
It took unnecessary shots.
Well, okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what kind of fan base he got after that too. The doubters started saying, you know what? I'm gonna roll with him more, because we were getting tired of him running and skillfully beating people. That gets boring. Like Mayweather did his last 10 fights damn near. You know, like,
nah.
come on, man. What?
Nah, Mayweather wasn't running, bro. Mayweather was out there putting on master classes. That's not running.
He was not doing what he was doing when he was Pretty Boy. He was not bringing it to him. Come on, son.
Them hands was like skeleton hands by then.
Okay. Whatever the reason was, I went with the eye test. Man. Come on.
So
when you go ahead.
So when it comes to Shakur and Teo, I feel like if it's not if Teo's not fighting someone that's being aggressive, pressing him a little bit, he taps out. And I feel like Shakur is not going to trade the way he did in the last fight, because he knows he's going up in weight and Teo has power, obviously. So I believe that this is going to be one of those fights where he kind of fights on the outside, frustrates him a little bit. I expect it to be a fairly boring fight.
In contrast, Lopez demonstrates remarkable versatility that gives him multiple tactical approaches. He can choose to engage in a defensive chess match, utilizing his own considerable skills to neutralize Stevenson's offense. Alternatively, he possesses the explosiveness to transform into an aggressive hunter, stalking forward with devastating right hands and leaping left hooks that can change the complexion of a fight in an instant. This adaptability means Lopez can adjust his strategy mid-fight based on what's working and what isn't, a luxury that Stevenson may not enjoy given his more rigid approach. Porter even envisions a scenario where both fighters proceed cautiously through the rounds, neither willing to fully commit to aggressive exchanges. In such a tactical stalemate, he believes Lopez holds the edge because of his ability to seize critical moments within each round.
I like what Pierre said, you know, the twitchiness, that athleticism that Teofimo has is what gives someone like Shakur problems, because it throws off his timing.
Yep.
Shakur is flat out amazing. I've watched this kid. He can find anybody's time.
Right.
So if you give him the space with just lot of feints and stuff like that, he gonna still pick it up and he's still gonna find it. I got a feeling this thing is not gonna be boring and dry, because I got a feeling you're right. By nature, Teofimo is a counterpuncher. He's an explosive counterpuncher. He does not know how to punch. He can't really set it up first the way that he can when somebody's coming at him. We already know Shakur ain't gonna have a lot of offense for him. But at the same time, I think about it like this: Shakur is an ace of spades, but Teofimo Lopez is a wild card. He's still liable to do anything at any point in time, and I just got a feeling that it's gonna be like a Tasmanian, well, like a hyena and a lion, you know. And it's like, is the hyena gonna be able to pounce on the lion enough to get the job done, or is the lion just gonna be able to make his moves, do what he need to do, and snap at him and get him when he want him to?
The legendary Mikey Garcia has also weighed in with his assessment, though his prediction comes with significant caveats. Garcia acknowledges the extraordinary quality of this matchup while highlighting the central mystery that could determine everything: which version of Teofimo Lopez will emerge on fight night. Garcia points to the stark contrast between the elite Lopez who dismantled Vasily Lomachenko and defeated Josh Taylor versus the inconsistent Lopez who has struggled in other performances. This unpredictability represents the biggest variable in the equation. Garcia believes the size favors Lopez, noting that the Brooklyn fighter is naturally bigger and has spent more time competing at super lightweight. This physical advantage should theoretically provide Lopez with additional weapons to deploy against an opponent moving up in weight. However, Garcia refuses to write off Stevenson, acknowledging that the undefeated fighter possesses exceptional skills that could overcome any size disadvantage. The four-division champion's uncertainty reflects the genuine competitive balance between these two talented athletes.
Great matchup, tough fight. I want to see what Teofimo shows up, because sometimes it's Teofimo, sometimes it's Teofimo, the great fighter who beat Lomachenko, who beat Taylor. That's a tough Teofimo. But then we've also seen him, you know, in off nights.
Right.
And so that's kind of the only doubt, the only question that I have. You know, which Teofimo's gonna show up.
What do you think he has to do to kind of deal with a guy like Shakur Stevenson? How would you approach a fighter like Shakur Stevenson if you were Teofimo Lopez with the attributes that he has?
I would think Teofimo, being that technically he's a bigger fighter, bigger size. He's been at the weight class a little more, and then just maybe build into it more. I would think he would have to use that, you know, size as an advantage. But it's hard to say because, I mean, Shakur Stevenson fucking good at what he does.
Oscar Valdez brings a unique perspective to the conversation as someone who experienced Stevenson's brilliance firsthand. When Valdez challenged Stevenson back in 2022, instead, Stevenson delivered a masterclass performance, dominating over 12 rounds and even scoring a knockdown in the 6th frame. Given his intimate knowledge of what Stevenson brings to the table, Valdez offers specific counsel for Lopez. The Mexican warrior emphasizes the critical importance of maintaining mental discipline throughout the fight. Stevenson's style can prove incredibly frustrating for opponents, and succumbing to that frustration has doomed many fighters who faced him. Valdez stresses that Lopez must commit to whatever strategic blueprint his corner develops and execute it with unwavering focus, regardless of whether it's plan A, B, or C. Abandoning the game plan in search of a miracle knockout or getting discouraged by Stevenson's defensive wizardry would be catastrophic mistakes.
If we go off paper, I would say Shakur Stevenson, but I would hate to say that because I can see Teofimo Lopez doing the opposite. And then it's going to be like, I thought, you know, Oscar Valdez thought Shakur was going to win and Teofimo won. He was like, no. I think Teofimo Lopez, it's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, because, you know, Teofimo's been proving it before. And I gotta emphasize this, you know, if someone can pull it off, it's definitely Teofimo Lopez. If Teofimo Lopez doesn't do it, I don't see who's gonna beat Shakur Stevenson. I don't see another fighter who will beat him. I know I said Pitbull, I think because I gave Pitbull came with some problems, but I wouldn't see no one else beating him unless Shakur Stevenson goes to 147, and then he's obligated to have some competition with I don't know, Ben Conner and all the other welterweights who are.
Brian Norman Jr. adds another voice to the chorus of predictions, though his recent experiences color his analysis. The young fighter known as the Assassin 2 suffered his first career defeat just months ago, when Devin Haney outboxed him to claim his WBO welterweight title. That loss triggered significant changes in Norman's camp, including the difficult decision to continue his career. From this position of reflection and reassessment, Norman views the Lopez versus Stevenson battle through a particular lens. Norman sides with Stevenson, and his reasoning focuses entirely on mental fortitude and discipline. He sees Stevenson as a fighter completely unbothered by crowd reactions or external pressures. Stevenson remains laser-focused on the singular objective of winning fights. Norman acknowledges Lopez's considerable talent, athleticism, and skill set, but believes Stevenson's patience will prove decisive.
Let's talk about some of the current events in boxing, man. We got one of the biggest fights happening and announced already. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, end of this month. What you think, man? How you see that, man? Give me the expert breakdown, man.
I think that's gonna be a wonderful fight, to be real with you, but I feel like Shakur gonna pull it off. And the reason being is because of discipline. Like, you look at Shakur as a whole, he don't care about getting booed. He don't care about anything like that. He care about winning. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Look, y'all looking at him, ready to watch him fight again versus Teofimo. But no matter what, who hand was raised. So I feel like Shakur gonna get that. And Teo, I ain't trying to take nothing from him. I feel like he's a great fighter as well, very athletic, very talented and skillful as well, but I just feel like the patience of Shakur is what's gonna do it. Not necessarily anything, I won't say anything else at all, just straight up patience of Shakur. He don't mind just stealing you off on one and just moving. He don't mind. Yeah. And I feel like that's gonna make Teofimo more eager and overzealous. He was trying to force it. Yeah. So I think that's where Shakur will try to take advantage. Shakur may be on trying to be on some pressure stuff, like you seen. Yeah, you seen. So maybe he trying to prove a point as well. So it's really a toss-up, but for the most part, leaning towards Shakur.
Roy Jones Jr. contributed his tactical analysis with characteristic bluntness. The legendary 4-division champion believes Lopez must embrace risk if he hopes to hand Stevenson his first professional loss. Jones sees no pathway to victory for Lopez that involves trying to outbox Stevenson from a safe distance. Stevenson's polished technique, blazing hand speed, and elite defensive awareness make him nearly impossible to hit cleanly with single shots from the outside. Jones argues that Lopez must demonstrate a willingness to enter dangerous exchanges, accepting that he'll absorb punishment in order to land his own power shots. Ultimately, Jones suggests the fighter who wants victory more desperately will find a way to impose his will.
Stylistically, man, how does Shakur beat Teo and vice versa? Stylistically, how does Teo beat Shakur?
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take something, get some, and that's just the only way to win. If he stays outside and boxes, Shakur gonna pick him apart. Shakur's a polished boxer with some of the best feet in the game right now, and he's a defensive-minded fighter, which is very smart. It's hard to hit him. He makes you gamble to hit him, and he's gonna be a tough one to deal with. But if Teofimo is willing to gamble to beat him, then Teofimo can definitely make it a really good fight.
Aiden Ross entered the conversation by putting his money where his mouth is, placing a $10,000 wager on Lopez to win. Terrence Crawford quickly accepted that bet, backing Stevenson with complete confidence. Crawford's assessment leaves no room for ambiguity, predicting that Stevenson will put on a boxing clinic and thoroughly dominate Lopez. The welterweight champion used colorful language to emphasize his conviction that Stevenson's style presents an unsolvable puzzle for the Brooklyn fighter.
Let's bet 10K on it.
Bet.
Great.
Bet.
Will, who you think's gonna win?
Who is this?
Teo and Shakur. They're fighting next month at Barclays. I'm be there. You'll be there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I get to see your live reaction when I take your money.
Little bro walking away with that. You gonna see.
Nah, Shakur is not to be, but Teo's good.
Teo's good for what he do, but he's getting washed.
Nah, come on.
He's getting washed.
Abel Sanchez addressed concerns that this highly anticipated matchup might disappoint fans from an entertainment standpoint. Sanchez acknowledged the legitimate worry that two skilled fighters might engage in a tactical stalemate that produces more respect than action. However, he expressed optimism that Lopez would assume the role of aggressor and force Stevenson to respond. Sanchez believes Lopez understands the necessity of pressing forward, because if both fighters adopt a wait-and-see approach, the result would be a disappointing spectacle for everyone who paid to watch.
Shakur's a great talent, and Teofimo looked great in his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him, but I think that for Shakur, he has to keep the fight at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you and he wants to counterpunch. He's gonna have to be a different guy this time. He's gonna have to attack. He's gonna have to be leading the fight, or else it's gonna be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur's going to wait for him, then it's not going to be exciting. But I think Teofimo will attack. I think Teofimo has to attack. I think Teofimo has to do what Zepeda did, except for Teofimo's a lot more talented than Zepeda was.
Tim Bradley delivered his analysis through his YouTube platform, ultimately siding with Stevenson despite acknowledging Lopez's physical advantages. The former 2-division champion praised Stevenson's exceptional ability to implement game plans and neutralize opponents' strengths through intelligent positioning and defensive responsibility. Bradley characterizes Stevenson as the type of fighter who methodically frustrates opponents by eliminating their offensive weapons and controlling the rhythm of each round. Bradley expressed particular interest in seeing how Lopez handles fighting someone capable of outthinking him in real time, concluding that Stevenson's strategic superiority would carry the day.
Teo, more so, I would say he's fast, explosive, and got that punching power, to hurt you, he can sting you. Whereas Shakur is more so like, I would say quick thinker, very decisive fighter, you know what I mean? With his movements, decisive with, all his moves, everything he does inside the ring, there's always like a purpose to it. He's always in the right position, to avoid a shot or to land a punch as well, And one of the things that I think is going to be a key thing in the fight, if they were to fight, is how laser focused Shakur is, man. Shakur is one of those guys that can stay
stay focused all night.
Paulie Malignaggi brings decades of experience as both a fighter and analyst to his evaluation. The former two-division champion and respected commentator admits this fight proves difficult to predict with certainty. While leaning towards Stevenson, Malignaggi warns against underestimating Lopez, particularly when he faces adversity. Malignaggi identifies an intriguing pattern throughout Lopez's career, where the fighter delivers his finest performances when doubted and struggles when expectations run highest. This psychological dynamic creates the perfect conditions for Lopez to make the fight extremely competitive. Malignaggi sees genuine pound-for-pound #1 potential in Stevenson, but acknowledges that Lopez represents exactly the type of threat who could derail that trajectory.
You want to give Shakur the edge, I do, but Teo is not something to play with, because when he's got his back to the wall, he becomes the most difficult guy to deal with, you know? And he's got his best performances when people count him out. And then when people feel like he's going to win easily, he's got his worst performances. So this is one of those times where Teo could make it really, really interesting. Shakur, for me, is a possible pound-for-pound #1 at one time. But if there's a guy who could be a threat to him, it is Teo, because Teo has that little bit of difference-making ability.
Is it a 60-40 fight? Is it still close?
I mean, it's probably 60-40, maybe even higher, but that's a live 30 and 40 by Teofimo, because again, the way he shows up is very, very difficult and tricky.
But it's very rare for fighters to fight in their prime nowadays. They're both, 28 years old. They're fighting in their prime.
Yeah.
You got to give a lot of respect to both of them, right?
Yeah, you do. And that's the problem. You don't see a lot of fights happening in the guys' primes. They milk the money and stuff like that. That's why I give these two guys credit.
O'Shaquie Foster offers perspective shaped by personal experience, having shared sparring rounds with Stevenson. Foster believes Stevenson performs optimally when he enjoys clear athletic advantages over opponents. However, when that physical superiority disappears, weaknesses emerge that skilled opponents can exploit. Foster views Lopez as someone who can match or even exceed Stevenson athletically while possessing legitimate power that demands constant respect. This analysis suggests Stevenson might struggle when he cannot rely on being the naturally bigger and stronger fighter.
You said, my opinion on him and Teo?
Yeah, do you think he beats him? Because essentially, if he beats him, I assume he would probably stay at 140 then.
Nah, styles make fights. I don't know. I don't really see. I think that's a bad style matchup for Shakur.
Really? You're like the 10th person that's told me this. I kid you not. Like, it's just because I know the obvious people will feel like Shakur's undefeated. He's a defensive fighter. Teo's kind of struggled with the boxer, but I've just talked to someone again today. Like, everyone favors kind of like Teo for some reason, just from what I've talked to. So why is that? Because you sparred Shakur, and I guess you would know better. So, I mean,
Shakur, he likes to be the most athletic guy in the ring. When he's not, he has problems. Shakur kinda, he's a right-hander fighting out of southpaw stance. So when you meet guys like that's athleticism, that fight with their strong hand in the back, you're gonna have to rely on more than just your jab and the rangefinder. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me, do he got a solid left hand?
I mean, I haven't been punched.
You seen him throw it. You seen him throw it, but you've never seen him hurt or knock nobody out with it. So I just think when you meet certain guys, that's why I say the style. You meet certain guys, you're gonna have to rely on both of them things, both of them hands. You know what I mean? And I just think it's a bad style matchup for him.
Lamont Roach Jr. made his prediction fresh off his own controversial draw against Isaac Cruz in his super lightweight debut. The former super featherweight title holder expects Stevenson to cruise to a convincing victory based on superior boxing intelligence. Roach dismisses any comparison between their ring IQ levels and points to Lopez's close call against Sandor Martin as evidence of vulnerability against pure boxers. The shocking upset loss to George Kambosos Jr. further supports Roach's argument that Lopez experiences critical mental lapses that can cost him fights against opponents who refuse to engage on his terms.
He a little cuckoo too, like he has like a little mental lapses every once in a while.
So who do you think wins that fight between him and Teofimo Lopez if they fight?
I think Shakur wins. And I don't think it's going to be like a super tough fight either. His IQ will frustrate him.
Don't you think Teo has also good ring IQ and also is slick, fast?
I think so, but when you look at Teo's performances against guys that are just pure boxers, it's just like He almost lost to Sandor Martin. Some people thought he lost to Sandor Martin.
He did beat Loma, who's arguably at the time considered one of the best in the world.
He did, and that was a hell of a performance too. A hell of a performance too. So yeah, I mean, I think he's hit or miss. You got to think he got stuff. He a little cuckoo too. Like he has like a little mental lapses every once in a while. Look at the Kambosos fight. Like that's a fight that people would never expect Kambosos to win. And he won a grueling match against him as well. So I just, I don't know. I don't think he can get it done against Shakur when it comes to like, cause it's gonna be just a skill match. I don't think he's gonna try to rough Shakur up, and it's probably not going to work.
Amir Khan leans toward Lopez based on first-hand knowledge of his power and versatility. Khan sees Lopez as capable of raising his intensity when circumstances demand it, and questions whether Stevenson has truly proven himself against someone combining Lopez's speed with his strength. The weight jump adds another layer of uncertainty for Stevenson, who must demonstrate that his skills translate seamlessly against naturally bigger opposition at super lightweight. As January...
The fight between Stevenson and Lopez, what a fight.
Who wins that?
Lopez. You think Stevenson? Lopez is a very good fighter, bro. I've trained with him. I've had him on the pod. He bangs hard. He's a good all-round boxer. Slick. A lot of people don't give him the credit for how good of a boxer he is. Look, he's the type of guy I know about Lopez is that when he has to turn it up, he turns it up. And I think with someone like Shakur, he will have to turn it up big time. And obviously Shakur, we've not really seen him in the deep end. Look at Lopez. He's fought the likes of Lomachenko. He's beaten some great names on the way, man.
31st approaches. The boxing community remains divided on who will emerge victorious from Madison Square Garden. The variety of expert opinions reflects the genuine competitive balance between these elite fighters, each bringing distinct advantages and question marks into this career-defining showdown.